Broadcasting live from the Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle Studios. This is On the Mark when on the mic with Mark Saxton.
First and foremost, obviously watching this now, being a 90s kid, I might be a little biased, but I loved how 90s this movie was. I loved seeing all the old computers and printers and phones, and that was funny to me in itself. I loved it. It was a great movie.
And Michael Spillin.
The Indiana Fever almost can't catch a break while they're still maintaining kind of good basketball on the floor. They just can't catch a break when it comes to the injury bug. They say Caitlin Clark is making progress, still not even like full participant at practice with the groin injury. Honestly, with 14 games left, why even push it? You might as well just sit the rest of the 14 games and get her ready for the playoffs.
Now, On the Mark when on the mic is on.
And welcome into Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle here on a special Wednesday edition of the pod. We were unable to do Sunday, so we are here with you on Wednesday evening, kind of changing things up. This week, we got a big show coming up today, as we'll get you set up for that. Mark, how are you on this hump day?
Fantastic. Got to rest up. I appreciate your patience with me. I had zero voice on Sunday, so glad to be back and glad to get back at it with you.
Yeah, so like we mentioned, big show today. We'll dive into what are you watching here in a couple seconds. We have a special guest joining us for one of our watchings, and then later on, obviously, we enter the entertainment portion of the pod, and we will dive into the wheel review, and we will review what we watched for the spin last week, and then we'll do our spin this week. Once again, go to all of our Facebook, X, Instagram, social medias, subscribe, and like our YouTube channel as well, and go to e5280sports.com for all of the other goodness, as well as we dive into what are you watching. And I'll kick it off, Mark. Obviously, the WNBA regular season is done. It is over. It is ready for the playoffs here in just a couple of days. All of the seeds are set. As we look at it here, Minnesota will play Seattle, the 1 versus the 8 seed. And then we have the Las Vegas Aces on a 15-game winning streak, by the way, to end their season and finish at 29-14. They will take on, how about this, the number 7 Golden State Valkyries, first ever expansion team in the W to clinch a playoff spot. They had 23 wins, Mark. I think we mentioned this before, the highest winning season for a expansion team in the W, 8 wins previous to this one. So 23 wins for the Golden State Valkyries. Atlanta will take on the Indiana Fever as they kind of had a up and down season, obviously. How about this? 18 different starting lineups throughout the regular season for the Indiana.
A lot of injuries.
Yeah,
a lot of injuries
for the Indiana Fever. So good for them. They finished the season 24-20, and then the 4 and 5 seed Liberty really slid down the ranks there. They finished at the 5 seed. They will take on the 4 seed Phoenix Mercury. So obviously the teams that missed out, the Los Angeles Sparks, Washington Mystics, Connecticut Sun, Chicago Sky with your girl, and Dallas and the Dallas Wings with the so-called Rookie of the Year. Only 9 wins on the season for the Dallas Wings. So the playoffs are set for the WNBA, and that will kick off tomorrow. Or excuse me, the regular season finishes up tomorrow. I'm sorry. Playoffs will begin on Sunday.
Yeah, no, that's exciting stuff. I was happy to see Golden State do their thing. I know we joke around. I know both of us like Paige Beckers. I would have liked to see her team do way better than what they did. But we all kind of knew that they weren't really postseason bound. But everybody else, happy for them. Can't wait. It's going to be exciting. It's going to be exciting, especially with some of those key teams coming in with key injuries. Going to see how they react. Going to need a lot of points off the bench.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that the Fever whooped up on the Minnesota Lynx last night. I know Lynx didn't really have much to play for. They already had the 1 seed. But they played all their starters all the way to the fourth quarter. So a lot of what I guess the mentality is, we don't want to get rusty heading into the playoffs, so we're going to play everybody. But Fever kind of need those reps because they have so many new players playing, so they kind of need that chemistry to kind of forge before the playoffs. So maybe that's the thinking there. So, playoffs start here in a couple of days. All right, Mark, what is on your first watching list?
Hey, sticking with the MLB. I don't know why no one in the NL West wants to win that thing, but it is still very much up for grabs. Padres only 2 games out. It's been fun to watch. Even, let me rephrase this. This time of the year for baseball is fun to watch. It has been absolutely tormenting to watch the Padres get within 1 or even up and then lose it. And same, and then watching the Dodgers lose and then win when the Padres lose. It's been absolutely tormenting. But love this time of year. Postseason right around the corner. I'm excited. That's going to remain on my watching list until the end of October.
Hey, just like the W is going to remain on my watching list. So no problems there. I guarantee you, though, the Rockies would love to win the NL West if they could.
You know what? If they would have hung in there just this much longer. I mean, look at it like this. The Diamondbacks and the Giants were close and over 2-digit games back, and now they are both within single-digit games back.
Yeah, I mean, the Rockies would have loved to win. They would have taken it from anybody if they truly could.
I completely agree with that statement.
Yeah, so that's where that is right now. Really quickly here, I know nobody cares about your fantasy team, and I'm saying your as in general, the general you here. I don't know how I ended up losing by 30 points. By the way, I was up, and then Fadeaway's fantastic team just absolutely demolished my team. And again, I don't know how, I don't know why. I know he has Josh Allen on his team, and that probably had a lot to do with it. But I was up by like 30 heading into one of the games, and then just absolutely got demolished. So that is my network fantasy football league update for the evening. But yeah, it was bad, really bad for week 1.
You know what? I was on the opposite end of that. I was down by 15, 17, maybe even closer to 20 points going into that Sunday night game, and Zay Flowers and James Cook just went off for me because CJ Stroud didn't even hit 9 points for me. That hurt. The Steelers defense, which good on the Jets, by the way, but the Steelers defense and special teams getting me all but 1 point. I thought it was over, but no. Zay Flowers and James Cook just coming in and getting it done on Sunday evening Sunday evening for me.
Yeah, and I had Jalen Hurts on Thursday night. Obviously had a decent start, so that kicked me off pretty well there. 24 points from him. And then Derrick Henry, he did have a fumble, but still got me 29 points. Isaiah Pacheco, trash, 4.8. T. Higgins, where the hell were you at? Trash, 6.3. DK Metcalf, A-Rod was slinging it on Sunday, but he only ended up with 12 points. And, of course, Evan Ingram, trash, 5.1. I thought he was going to be like an X factor on Sunday. Absolute trash. Broncos defense, okay, 16 points. I mean, they got more points than 3 of my players combined. And then Cooper Kupp, trash, 3.5 points. And the good old Harrison Butlicker, the kicker for the Kansas City Chiefs, 11 points. So he got more points than some of the position players combined. My bench, I don't know if you mentioned your bench, but yeah, I'm glad I didn't start anybody on the bench. Tillman, the wide receiver for Cleveland, would have got me 16, but it still wouldn't have came close to winning against Fadeaway's fantastic team. I don't know who Fadeaway is, but screw you, pal.
Yeah, I had Becky's best team, and they almost bested me for sure. Becky's team almost kicked my ass, but I had Scary Terry McLaurin, only 4 points, and I had Olave on the bench leaving 12 points, which isn't great, but it's way better than 4. And then, like I said, I started Stroud, thinking that them and the Rams would have like a back and forth offensive game because I was kind of shying away from that Chiefs and Chargers game. But Herbie over there, because I got him on my bench having a 27.92 game. I mean, what was I thinking? I guess. And then the other thing, I'm one of those guys. I'll keep 2 defense special teams on my roster just in case. And I have the Washington Commies. I have them on my bench. They had 8 points, which is way better than 1 coming from Pittsburgh. So I left some points out there.
Yeah, just a little bit. But so you did win, though. Did I hear that?
Yeah,
right?
I did win. Like I said, thanks to 2 players.
Okay. There you go. I'm going to switch to what I'm not watching here really quick. How about, don't know if you saw this, it's a couple days old now, but the Karen at the Philadelphia Phillies and Miami, are they still the Marlins down there? Are they Florida still? Miami? Dade County Marlins. They it looked like a home Philadelphia Phillies game, by the way, because there were so many Philly fans, but I think it was in Florida. And, a home run was hit, and a bunch of people obviously rushed over to the seats where nobody was sitting in the seats where it landed. A dad ran over there. Some people were reaching over the seats. The dad came away with it, gave it to his kid. And then here comes the Karen fanatic running over. A lot of people got this on video. There's a really clear video, paraphrasing, but basically saying, that you took that from me. That's my ball. And the dad literally had to take the ball out of the kid's glove and give it to this, well, for lack of a better term, bitch. And that's pretty messed up. Now, I will say this, Mark, and I've been outspoken about this. In 30 years, I can honestly age me a bit here. I can honestly say in 30 years of going to baseball games, minus the last 3 because I will not go to Coors Field, I have never got a foul ball, home run ball, any type of ball. Players playing catch, they throw it in this, nothing. Even as a kid, never got a foul ball. Never walked out of a stadium with a ball that has been played with on the field, ever. So if I get a foul ball, like legitimately, if it lands in my glove or I'm the only one in the area, I go pick it up, you bet your ass no kid is getting it.
Right.
I am not giving it to a kid. But I understand this is different circumstances, but I will say I am. If I legitimately catch a ball, I am not giving it to a kid.
But see, that's the difference though too. Though, like you said, if you were in an area by yourself or you get a clean catch on it, like you're not gonna go and take it out of the dad's hands. And I'm glad you brought this up because this is also on my list. What's crazy to me is I thought it was kind of an unwritten, unspoken rule where if it's out in the open, it's anybody's game. It's anybody's ball, right? Like anybody can get to it.
Yeah. And I think they had a legitimately. I mean, if it's in a scrum like that, and whoever comes away with it, it's their ball. Like,
agreed.
Like, agreed. even if he took it from this witch, it is still. You don't go up to a kid and take it. We're going to transition back to what we are watching, and obviously, it is a full swing in the NFL season, and that brings us to our special guest, former Denver Bronco, former NFL defensive back, and it is Nick Ferguson is joining the podcast right now. And Nick, we are so happy to have you. It's good to see you again. It's been a while. So how are you?
I'm doing well, man. It's definitely been a while, and I see someone's rocking that Green Bay Packers jersey.
Got you. Nice to meet you. I'm Mark. I'm glad to have you on.
Yeah, go Pack, go, right?
Let's go. We're looking good.
Yeah, they are. And Thursday Night Football is going to set up well to see 2 quality quarterbacks face off in Jordan Love and Jayden Daniels. So I'm looking forward to that game.
Absolutely. It's going to be a showdown. And Jayden Daniels being one of the youngest, greatest stars we've seen in a while, as young as he is. And Jordan Love, and then obviously the addition of Micah Parsons, man, that defense, I can't wait.
Yeah. So it's good to be on with you guys.
Yeah, very good to have you, Nick. Really quickly here, I want to get your thoughts. I know it was a little bit ago, but you're wearing the hat. What did you make of your Georgia Tech taking down the Colorado Buffaloes?
You know what? That was a great game. And, we didn't know exactly what to expect from Coach Prime and his third year with the CU Buffs, not knowing who's going to be the starting quarterback. Hell, we still don't know right now who's going to be the starting quarterback, and we'll find out on Friday night. But it was great. And for me, I love offense, but what I love more than offense is defense. And when I was looking at CU, they couldn't stop, the running game for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. And when you look at Haynes King and what he was able to do, it's no different than some of the guys that we see in the NFL, maybe Jordan Love or Jaden Daniels, or even a guy up in Buffalo like Josh Allen. And when you look at what Georgia Tech did, they decided, you know what? We know where we live as far as our skill level. It's at quarterback. And they designed a lot of quarterback runs, and he did his thing.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see who and if Coach Prime lands on a permanent quarterback for the rest of the season, or he may just go with a couple of guys rotating through. Obviously, without his son there, it's kind of hard to land on somebody, but we will see. All right, diving into week 1 of the NFL. It is here. We're excited. Mark's obviously excited for his Green Bay Packers, but I want to get to a former Green Bay Packer and the matchup that was the Pittsburgh Steelers and the New York Jets. Basically saw a quarterback swap between Aaron Rodgers and Justin Fields, and both looked pretty darn good, respectively, on their new teams. What do you make of, obviously, the Jets struggled last year, a lot of finger pointing. You heard what Aaron Rodgers had to say after. I'm glad everyone associated with the Jets lost. And, Justin Fields is kind of a soft-spoken kind of dude. I personally think the Bears did him dirty. But, what do you make of that kind of quarterback flop and how well they performed? Is it coaching? Is it just new environments? What do you think that was a product of?
Well, it's a byproduct of being motivated. Have you ever been in a situation when someone doubted you and told you what you couldn't do? And then that just made you want to go out and achieve it even more? Because think about Justin Fields. You mentioned the Chicago Bears. Did Ryan Poles and the Bears put him in a position to succeed? No, they did not. He therefore moved on to the Pittsburgh Steelers, and he still felt as though he didn't get the level of respect. So now he signs with the New York Jets. And oh, by the way, the schedulers put the Pittsburgh Steelers against the New York Jets, and these two quarterbacks, they were motivated. Think about all the things that were said about Justin Fields when he came out of college and his first couple of years in the pros, and just think about what was said about Aaron Rodgers and the fact that the Jets say, you know what, pump your brakes, we good, now you can move on. And Aaron felt compelled to go out and show the Jets and the Jets organization, I still can play this damn game of football. So you had two highly motivated players playing against their former teams, and they wanted to go out and wanted to show they can still play. And Justin Fields, man, I applaud the brother. What a great performance by him. Maybe that might silence the critics. And I can tell you, as a guy that played for the Jets, it's only going to increase the expectations for Justin Fields and the Jets. But moving on to Aaron Rodgers, he's embodying everything that the Steelers organization actually stand for. And there's another guy. I will stand corrected. Jalen Ramsey was never a physical guy. In college, at Florida State, in Jacksonville with the Rams, he just shied away from contact. But that tells you a lot about the culture in Pittsburgh, that on the deciding play of the game, who of all people make the play?
Yeah.
Jalen freaking Ramsey. So, look, it was a great week 1. You talk about the Steelers, the Pittsburgh Steelers and the Jets game. Then you saw the Buffalo-Baltimore game. But once again, Thursday night, we could be in the mode for another high-scoring game when the Commanders face off against the Packers.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And obviously that Jets-Steelers game comes down to a 60-yard field goal. Mark, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I was just going to want to touch on Justin Fields again, because I feel like the Bears organization has done this to so many quarterbacks, and it's almost offensive where they don't fix anything around him. They pick a guy out of college, and instead of this guy carrying a clipboard the first couple of years, they're told, hey, carry the whole organization, the whole city, and do it on your own. Mm-hmm. And then the crap that comes out about these young men who are playing, their hearts out. Oh, well, he could have done this and he could have done. Man, he's running for his life half the time in Chicago. I was so happy for Justin Fields for what he did in Pittsburgh. I thought he wasn't treated perfectly there either, but I'm glad he had a great debut in New York. And I'm just, once again, I'm happy somebody sees it.
Well, I'll tell you guys this. That quarterback position is a very difficult position to play, especially if you go into an organization that really hasn't had a lot of success at that position, or they never went to Super Bowls, or they vacated from the playoffs. Teams draft that guy. And look at it this way. If a team is drafting a quarterback in the top 5, that means they suck, right? So they want you as that quarterback to come in and save the franchise. And even though we constantly hear, well, we're just one player away, there's no such thing as one player away. There's no such thing as, well, that quarterback is going to come in and be a savior. You need to build a team. And that's one of the reasons a lot of these guys fail, because there's no vision. I remember when I first tried to break into the league, going back to my days with the Bears, Cade McNown was drafted out of UCLA. Did he have adequate weapons around him? No. And we watched him fizzle and burn out. The same thing that people were saying about Jordan Love, right? Because they were like, well, we haven't really seen him play. Did the Packers draft him too soon? What kind of quarterback he was going to be? And just boom, poof, there it is. Now he's this amazing quarterback, which I hope he leads the Packers to another Super Bowl, because he is just that talented. I'm not just saying that because I'm on the show with you guys. I truly believe that, but there's a lot of pressure that is put on a lot of these young quarterbacks, that you need to allow these guys to settle in, allow these guys to just kind of get their feet wet. And I'll just take you guys to college football. Week 1, Arch Manning is in the shoe in Ohio State. A lot of hype around him because his name is Manning. People talked about him being a first-round draft choice and being a Heisman frontrunner. All of that pressure collapsed on him in that game because he couldn't really handle it. And the hype really built him up. But here's what I know about life or sports. People love to build you up because they want to watch you burn. And that's kind of been the case. But I'm happy for Fields, and I hope his career continues to move forward.
Yeah, absolutely. Sticking with the quarterback situation, the 49ers are already kind of going through it. Brock Purdy not likely to play. Obviously, you have George Kittle banged up already. You have Christian McCaffrey banged up already. So we will see another guy who's changed environments, and that's Mac Jones. He will get the start for the 49ers. What is your just kind of view on, I don't know if it's bad luck or if it's just the way it is for the 49ers, 2-3 years ago, hell, even last year, NFC favorites to come out of the NFC to just always dealing with injuries. What's your kind of perspective and maybe an inside view of how they navigate this and how they've just been going through this the last couple of years?
Well, it's very difficult for the 49ers. It seems to be somewhat of a problem because when you say that if something happened once or twice, maybe you look at it as a coincidence. When it is happening on a much larger scale, now you're asking yourself, or you're saying we got a much larger problem. And usually when guys get injured, now you start looking at the way they train, how the equipment guys are giving them the right things, but then you look at the strength and conditioning coach, and because people are now looking for someone to blame, it's just like, well, this team cannot be snake bitten this many times. It has to be something internal. But to me, it's just kind of bad fortune. And in football, things happen. When you look at Brock Purdy, you're looking at something with his foot. I think it's sort of like a turf toe or whatever. And I can tell you, as a guy that has turf toe, and I've had it since college, you may think that it's just a toe, but it hurts like the dickens, especially when you're trying to plant drive and push off of it. The fortunate part for the 49ers, they have Mac Jones. And here's what's interesting about Mac Jones now coming in. When I coached with the 49ers, Mac Jones was kind of one of those. Well, they wanted a guy, Mac Jones type of guy, and then that Mac Jones type of guy was Kirk Cousins. So Mac Jones gives them a Kirk Cousins because that's what they've always wanted. Now the question becomes, if Mac Jones comes in and does a Brock Purdy as far as leading the 49ers, do the 49ers now rethink giving Brock Purdy all that money? I'm just tossing it out there.
Yeah, that could be a huge, either a huge regret or something hopefully that they'll look to in the future and be like, we're glad we gave this guy money. Go ahead, Mark.
Yeah, just kind of want to touch on that AFC West. It's funny because my pop is a huge Chargers fan. Obviously, the Justin Herbert and company doing work moving the ball well against the Chiefs. What do you think of that AFC West?
It's going to be a very intriguing conference. I mean, division as a whole, because when you think about it, the only team in the AFC West to not win the game was the Chiefs, right? And how long have the Chiefs dominated the AFC West? And they've had more appearances in the AFC West than I think maybe the Broncos, the Raiders, and the Chargers combined. So it's going to be really interesting and telling, because now we have arguably 4 competitive teams in the AFC West. So when we start looking at playoff seedings, how is that going to work out? Winning games early on is going to be really important. And the fact that the Chiefs lost the game, I know everyone's like, well, it's week 1, don't panic. No, the Chiefs lost to the Chargers, right, to start the season. So now that puts the Chiefs behind the 8 ball. They not only have to run the table, but they have to make sure the next time they face off against the Chargers, they win that game, because that could be a game that either puts them maybe at number 2 seed or maybe make Kansas City, believe it or not, a wild card team.
Yeah, that would be crazy to see Kansas City in the wild card slot when it comes to the end of the season. Sticking in the AFC West, obviously, Nick and I are in Denver, so obviously the Broncos got a maybe not what everyone expected against the Tennessee Titans. I was watching the game with my dad, and he's like, "What is going on with these guys?" I'm like, "Yeah, it's almost like Tennessee doesn't get paid." Like they are professionals here. A kind of struggling debut for Tennessee's quarterback, and that's bound to happen a time or two with these new guys. But just your overall view of Denver. Obviously, their defense is still elite and can win them games single-handedly. But just your overall view of the Broncos. Bo Nix, not his best game, but they were able to escape with a victory.
So let me start off by saying this. The Broncos got the victory, right? So that's the most important thing. Now, let's get to the meat of what really took place. It was kind of lackluster, especially after what we heard all offseason about the Broncos being a Super Bowl team and how that team was going to get carried to the Super Bowl based on the sophomore season of one Bo Nix and how much he was going to be so much better under Sean Payton. And week 1, it didn't really look that way. And if you were to compare the 2 quarterbacks and the throws that were made, even though the Titans lost the game, there is an argument to say, well, Cam Ward had some better throws than Bo Nix. I mean, you can argue that point, and Cam is going to be okay, because what I saw was a guy knowing as though you're coming into a hostile environment with a defense that has had this historic 63 sacks the year before. So you knew that the crowd was going to be loud and the defense was going to be ready to play as though they were. And there was going to be some challenges for them. But the Broncos offense kind of kept them in the game. I thought the score was going to be something like 27-17. But it never really got to that particular point because the offense started slow. And historically, they've done that. They did it in the preseason and they did it last year, starting slow. But luckily for them, they have a Vance Joseph defense that can stop people and hold them, because that defense, believe it or not, they were put in some really tough situations, forced to stop a rookie quarterback. Even though he's a rookie, you don't want to be in those situations defensively. And the one thing that could have helped the defense out, could have helped Bo out, was the run game. We didn't really see the run game come alive until maybe the fourth quarter, and that was sparked by the 50-yard run by R.J. Harvey, followed by a 19-yard run by J.K. Dobbins. So I was watching the game. I was like, where's the run game? I thought we were told all last year, well, the Broncos didn't run the ball because they couldn't. They didn't have quality running backs, but you got Dobbins, right? You have R.J. Harvey. Run the freaking ball. And if the Broncos don't do that and they don't do it well against the Colts, man, Daniel Jones may have another win on Sunday.
Yeah. I was going to ask Daniel Jones, another quarterback in a new system, a new environment. I love the new nickname they gave him to Indiana Jones is just awesome. No more Danny Dimes. It is officially Indiana Jones, but he was dropping dimes all over the place last week.
He was. And you know what? I didn't anticipate the outcome being what it was because I'm at the Broncos game, so I'm trying to watch the Colts game simultaneously. And I'm like, wait, I'm sorry, what? I mean, the Colts are up on the Dolphins like this, a Mike McDaniel type offense? What's going on with Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and Tua Tagovailoa? Once again, man, this is the wonders of the NFL, and people will tell you, don't panic. It's just the first week. And for me, I don't subscribe to that because there are certain glaring things in the first week that you can say that maybe you don't have all ironed out, but certain things, man, you can't make the mistakes that the Dolphins have made. And then you can't give the Colts hope that like that, knowing as though Justin Fields and the Jets are playing the way that they're playing. And there's no hope with if Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills are scoring 41 points. There's no hope for the Dolphins.
Yeah, zero hope.
So, that kind of brings me to our next one. I know we already talked about Green Bay and Washington, kind of touched on Denver and the Colts there. Any other great matchups this upcoming week you want to touch in on or give some inside information on?
I would love to say that kind of my underdog game is Dallas and the Giants, right? Because, the Giants, they didn't show fare too well against Jaden Daniels and the Commanders. They had some moments, but then there was a moment in the game where, second-year safety, wide receiver out of LSU, Malik Neighbors can be seen exchanging some words with his head coach, Brian Dable. Now, only if I was a fly on the wall to hear exactly what he was saying, but just read the body language. He was not happy with how he was being used. The Giants could not run the ball. They couldn't really do anything. But anytime you get to two division type of teams, especially in the East, facing off against one another, to me, it makes for a great game. And Dallas is coming off a game that they figure as though they should have won against Philly. That's the way that they feel, right? That they should have won that game. And now they're looking to have some get back. And I think the biggest question everyone's asking, especially if you're a Giants fan, at one point does Brian Dable say, well, you know what? We're going to move away from Russell Wilson and go to Jackson Dart. I think everyone's waiting for that.
Yeah, that was going to be my next and last question for you is what is the over-under on Russ for the Giants? Obviously, Brian Dable already came out and said he's starting next week. We faced that similar situation watching him in 2 seasons with Denver. It was just a struggle. And I kept telling people, I was like, there's no way he fell off that much in a season coming over from Seattle. But the trend is continuing. We saw him in Pittsburgh last year. They lost 5 games in a row to end the season. And again, Justin Field got screwed out of that situation as well. So we will see what the Giants do with Russ. Because in your opinion, Nick, eventually if teams are playing like this with him at the helm, they have to move on, right?
Well, I guess, once again, every team is different. His situation in New York is different than the one here with the Broncos. And the Broncos, he was a veteran quarterback. There was no other quarterback, a rookie quarterback that the team had drafted in the first round, because that's the thing that puts a lot of pressure on you. If a team drafts a player at your position, at some point when adversity strikes, whether it's your fault or not, fans are going to call for the replacement to come in. And knowing as though you're playing in New York, and I'm going to tell you, I lived and I played in New York. Those fans are vicious, right? And they think every single year is going to be their year, somewhat like Dallas Cowboys fans. But with the Giants, knowing as though you have a young quarterback, and they want to win. And then now you're saying, okay, well, do we want to go down 0-2 in the division? We lost to Washington. Do we want to do the same thing with Dallas? They're going to start calling and pounding the table for the replacement to come in. But here's the thing. Looking at what Russell is dealing with, Russ doesn't have a great offensive line. They don't have a running game. And outside of Malik Neighbors, what other top receivers do they actually have? So whether it's Jackson Dart, whether it's Jameis Winston, or whether it's Russell Wilson, those quarterbacks are going to struggle because they don't have a supporting cast. Think about Daniel Jones when Daniel Jones was with the Giants. Trust me, he had his fair share of mistakes, but then Saquon Barkley left and he went to the division rival Eagles. So you have no run game, right? A quarterback without a run game, man, that guy is destined to be killed. And right now, fair or not, people are criticizing Russ, but even here in Denver, Russ wasn't given a fair shake because this is what you do with any quarterback. And when you have a system that you've run as an OC, you have a choice. You continue to run your system and force that player to run your system, or you say, I have to adapt my system to that quarterback, right? That's where you have a certain level of success. Earlier, we talked about Brock Purdy being injured, Mac Jones coming into the fold. What do you think Kyle Shanahan is going to do with Mac Jones? Hey, listen, we're going to change a couple of things to kind of fit what it is that you do, even though we're going to do what we do. It has to be a perfect marriage. Let me ask, any of you guys married or have girlfriends?
I'm married.
All right. So the idea is that you have to be on the same page as a team. If she's thinking something different from you, there's going to be a problem, and most likely you're going to get the blame for it.
You know it. Hey, well, happy wife, happy life. Got to stay on the same page.
Absolutely, and that's how it works with quarterback and offensive coordinator. So hopefully things turn around for the Giants. And to be totally honest, the people who set the schedule, they did not help them at all. Those dudes have probably top 5 or top 10 as far as strength of schedule. So we may not get past week 4 and Russell is still the quarterback.
Yeah. I guess time will only tell how long he lasts out there. Nick, we want to thank you so much for taking the time to join us this evening. And I know we kept you a little longer, but thank you so much for your opinions, insight, just everything.
Hey, man, appreciate it. Thank you. We got to do this again.
Yeah, absolutely. Nick Ferguson, everybody, thanks. And
thanks, Nick.
Have a good evening. All right, that was Nick Ferguson there, former NFL defensive back. And, yeah, I mean, I almost feel bad for Russell Wilson, but I'm almost like, I don't know what the other emotion is. That's I'm almost at a loss for words because, like you said, like how long do you hang on to him? And I didn't even think about the situation here in Denver. I don't even remember his backup quarterback because, like he said, he didn't have like a top rookie or a top draft pick breathing down his neck like he does in New York. And I totally forgot about Jameis Winston also.
Yeah, that does change it up. And you know it. First things first, Nick knows ball. That was fun, and definitely appreciate him. That was a good time. It was great hearing what he had to say. But that made up some great points, and obviously the Giants organization, another tough one to play for, not having all the pieces. And you know it's even worse because Russ, being a veteran, winning a Super Bowl or two, and then coming in and saying, "Hey, now you need to save this city and you need to save this organization," and knowing damn well he's no support. Yeah,
and maybe the other emotion I'm thinking of, I feel bad for him, but I'm also like, is he just getting like starts now because of name recognition and what he did in the past? I'm almost on that side of the fence, Mark, because well, I mean, we saw what he did in Denver, struggled. I agree with Nick that he did get a bad shake here. Sean Payton did not want him as a quarterback, so he basically set Russ up to fail. Ran some stupid plays and stuff like that, knowing damn well that Russ was probably not going to be here next season either. So, and then in Pittsburgh, I mean, again, Justin Fields started the season, 4-2, 5-2, And then as soon as Russell Wilson was healthy, they threw him in there, and they lost five games in a row to end the season. I mean, say what you will, like I said, he didn't fall off in a year coming from Seattle, but now there's starting to be a trend in the wrong direction for Russ. So, like I said, time will tell with his time starting with the Giants.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know, it's always interesting to see new quarterback, new scenario. They're always going to be under a microscope, even at Russ's stage in his situation. And whether, like Nick said, whether it's fair or not, he is going to be the one stuck holding the bag, period.
Yeah. So we will see. Obviously, looking ahead to week 2 in the NFL, we kind of mentioned the Thursday night game between the Washington Commanders and your Green Bay Packers. That'll be the Thursday night game. A lot of division matchups this week. It always kind of happens in the beginning of the season. We kind of touched on the Giants and Dallas, both teams 0-1. Cleveland gave Cincinnati a run for their money in week 1. Also, they'll be facing the Baltimore Ravens, both teams 0-1. Jacksonville, Cincinnati, 1-0 for both of those division rivals, Bears and Lions. I'm sure the Bears are pretty pissed off choking away that game on Monday night. Stupid idiots. And some other ones, obviously the Jets and Buffalo, we kind of touched on, Seattle, Pittsburgh. So there's a lot of good matchups Sunday Night Football, the Falcons and the Vikings. And JJ McCarthy came out on fire in that fourth quarter. Yeah, more so the second half, but that fourth quarter was insane for a guy who, you know, was promised a rookie season and obviously tore his ACL, but looked good in his, I guess, second half of his first start in the NFL.
Yeah, what I was kind of more impressed with was the fact that he didn't turn into a typical rookie getting happy feet and trying to force things and making things happen on his own. And he stayed patient, stuck with the game plan, trusted the stars around him to do what they're supposed to do. And he ended up making plays on his own by staying, you know, relaxed and kind of in that form. So that's where I was really impressed with McCarthy, because really the Bears were kind of on him all night. And, you know, whether they got the sacks or not, they were in his face. They were making him earn every yard. And the fact that he was poised enough to kind of just, like I said, stay relaxed, stay in the pocket when needed, running out of the pocket when needed. He didn't look like a typical rookie in a big game situation.
Yeah. Well, the Bears will do that for you. They'll make you feel comfortable.
That's true. This is very true.
They'll have a 3-touchdown lead. Though, you know, we're going to slack off. You want some wine and some cheese? So,
you know, one thing though, I will say, and this is kind of my part of my not watching list, is that Bears hype. Here's the thing: the Bears scored 10 points offensively. They had 1 pick six on an oopsie, and you know those will happen to any quarterback. And they did nothing after that. And here's the thing: they look sound. They protected Williams pretty well the first half, especially. The defense did their job, but I mean, kind of typical Bears. The offense just didn't complement what the defense was doing, and then they just fizzled out. You know, pretty much at that end of that third quarter, beginning of the fourth. And so once again, that Bears hype that came in, it's like I don't understand how delusional they could keep being in Chicago. It's insane to me.
Yeah, well, I mean, not as delusional as Cowboys fans. I'll give you that, but
yeah, that's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I guess when you haven't won in so long, you're just not grasping at straws, but you got to grasp at something. I guess. I guess it's just the nature of being a fan. I don't know what it is, but it was funny because this guy I was talking to, he was like, should I put 250 on Caleb Williams scoring a touchdown? And then he was like, how many rushing touchdowns does Caleb Williams have? And I was trying to think of last year. I was like, maybe he had like 2 or 3. On Monday night was his first ever rushing touchdown in the NFL. And then I thought about it. I was like, I wonder if he put that 250 on him scoring a touchdown. He didn't. He would have won like $900, but so that would have been a good place to bet. If I won my parlay, by the way, on Sunday, you wouldn't. I mean, nobody would have seen me this week. I bet all the games against the spread mark. I was like a 10 or 12 leg parlay, however many games there was just on Sunday, missed one.
Ooh, which one did you miss?
Cincinnati, because they barely beat Cleveland. Yeah.
Yeah.
Stupid jerks. Yeah, $52K I could have won.
Dude, it's crazy. My little brother won $1,800. I think he bet like $20, and he bet on 8 or 9 of the 12 games, and got out every single one of them right. But he just chose them outright. He stayed away from the spread. So shout out to Jimmy, $1,800.
You know what's funny and how stupid I am is I thought I was picking the money line. I thought I was just picking the winners, but I picked all the spread and not realized it. And I only missed one on like a 10 or 12 leg parlay. Yeah, you wouldn't have seen me before lunch either, by the way.
Hey, I don't blame you. Hey, but you know what though? That's something to build off of. We got 17 more weeks. We got this.
I know, but like 52,000 just slipped through my fingers. But yeah. All right. Before we move on to the entertainment side, anything else on your not watching list? I was going to add. I brought it up to Nick, but I was going to add the 49ers injuries on the not watching, because that's like I said, it's just brutal.
Year after year. Yeah.
I mean, I was like, come on, George Kittle.
Year after year. No, that was a great point, because that's just, I mean, I'm not a Niners fan by any means, but that's got to be tough to watch.
Yeah, absolutely. But anything else that was on your list before we move on?
Yeah, I got one more. So Lamar Jackson came out apologizing to the fan. They had a, I guess if you want to call it a physical altercation. But I don't, and this might be a hot take, I don't think Lamar was wrong. You're in a heated game. Scoring points that very much matter and very much could lead to a win or a loss, and getting a key touchdown, and then you got Bills fans slapping him in the head and kind of trying to manhandle him down there in the corner. I don't see why he's wrong for shoving back. Now, like I said, it might be a hot take, but for in my opinion, do what you want to do. It's different if you're jumping into the crowd. Obviously, like it happens in Green Bay all the time. If you're not a Packer and you jump into the crowd, you're going to get thrown back out. It is what it is. But I mean, he wasn't doing anything to the crowd. He was looking. I believe Henry was in front of him, and they were just relentless, beating on his helmet. So I don't think he was wrong. And I'm not having the Lamar hate on that. Not that I'm typically a Lamar fan. I'm not a hater by any means either. But I think he got the raw end of the deal on that one.
Yeah, I mean, is he going to get – I mean, I haven't heard about a fine or anything.
I figured that was coming just because he made a public apology, because I can't imagine he thinks he's wrong either.
Yeah. I mean, if we've learned anything from the Malice at the Palace, we know not to engage fans regardless. I mean, like you said, apparently they can reach over and club you in the helmet, but you can't shove back, which is kind of dumb, but – I mean, I guess the worst that can happen is you ban that fan from ever going to a game, but that's... And
like I said, it's different if you're interacting with the fans, because there's been a lot of, I guess, fun interactions. Like I said, they do it in Green Bay all the time. Well, they'll try the Lambeau leap, they'll get thrown back out. Nothing, at least to my recollection, has gone crazy or overboard with that kind of stuff. But to just lean over the wall and just start taking swings at the guy, what the hell are we thinking?
Yeah, stupid fans. It takes one person to ruin it forever. Next thing we know, we're going to go to a football game and there's going to be like the hockey glass around the stadium.
Right, exactly. Yeah. No touching. Keep all extremities inside the glass.
There you go. I did have one small, I don't know if it's small, might turn into a bigger discussion, but what I'm not watching is, again, kind of a public apology. I don't know if you saw your girl, Angel Reese, kind of made some comments that, paraphrasing, but basically her team sucks. She's got to do all the work. Not a lot of people took that kindly. There was a lot of, I guess, internal struggle within the Chicago Sky organization. They took it upon themselves and suspended her. I've never seen this, Mark. Suspended her for the first half of a game as her punishment. And then when the second half started, they ruled her out with a back injury, which is weird. Maybe they I don't know what they did. Maybe they I don't know what. I don't know how you get hurt just sitting there, but she did not play the entire game, as it turns out. So I don't know if you count that as a full game suspension. I've never seen a half game suspension before, but kind of good riddance. The Sky season is over. A lot of people are saying to free Angel Reese from the Chicago Sky, and I don't know. She may end up forcing her way out of there somehow.
Yeah, once again, but see, that's another incident, another piece of evidence where, hey, open mouth, enter foot. She just can't get out of her own way. She says this stuff, and it's like, well, what did you think was going to happen? Now, I will say this: I can understand she's a talented player. You're frustrated, you're not winning, but there's better ways to go about that than just trash talking your team and your organization.
Yeah, exactly. All right, let's move on to our entertainment portion of the podcast. We will spin the wheel review here in a few minutes, but we did have some things we had to watch from last week. My assignment was, in the words of Creed Batten from The Office, my favorite James McAvoy movie, Wanted. And so that was on my docket. Mark, what did you have to watch?
I got to watch Echo, the miniseries on the Marvel side of Disney Plus.
There you go. All right. Why don't you kick things off? How'd you like it? Recommend it? Was it confusing? Were you wondering how this tied into certain storylines? What's up?
So first, I really enjoyed this. So I believe the storyline kind of took place right after the Hawkeye show. And it's about this young Native American girl. She was born deaf. Her dad, from what I understand, was a gangster in dealings that should not be named. We didn't really even talk about it in the show, but he had enemies. And spoiler alerts, they get into the family vehicle, and the mom, she's driving down. She's driving down the road, realizes that she has no brakes, gets into a bad accident, causing our main character Maya to lose her leg in this accident, and her mother to lose her life. This creates turmoil within the family. Grandma doesn't like it. Tells dad, get lost. So he takes Maya and goes to New York, where she ends up falling into the footsteps of her father after he's brutally killed by, I don't even think they covered it. It was some dude with a sword. It was a ninja. Just came in there and slaughtered everybody. So she kind of turned to a life of crime. Go ahead. Yeah,
it was. If I remember right, it's supposed to be Hawkeye when he went on his like terror spree, and you kind of saw it in the, I don't know if it was Endgame or Infinity War, where he just after Black Widow died or sacrificed herself for the Soul Stone, he kind of went on a tear. No, he went on a tear before that. Sorry, because she went and got him because his family disappeared. Yeah, so it was Endgame because Thanos, snapped his finger, everyone disappeared, so his family disappeared. So he went on like this terror spree, and that's what kind of led into the Hawkeye series, was this whole ninja suit that he was wearing when he was killing people. So I think it was Hawkeye who actually killed her dad.
Yeah, and I was just about to throw out my opinion too. I definitely thought it was Hawkeye, because especially after Maya took in the life of crime, if you will, going, kind of like an after school special, kind of going down the wrong road there. Didn't have a friend to pull her out. She befriended and became, quote unquote, a family with the mob boss. And while she was making hits and doing jobs for this boss, Hawkeye does make a short appearance and tells her, hey, your boss isn't who you think he is, and he's the one who told me, or he's the one who said that he wanted your father out. So that led me to believe that it was definitely Hawkeye. Like I said, you see his face clearly, you see the conversation clearly. So, but yeah, so then moving on, she takes it upon herself to shoot the boss in the face. Bam, dunzos, goes home. By the way, super badass. She's one leg knows MMA, ain't scared to shoot or fight anybody. This is one of my favorite characters, just right off of the rip. And then she ends up getting shot in the side, goes back to her home in Oklahoma, right where it all started, and sews herself up with dental floss. You want to talk about a badass. So obviously becomes infected and she reaches out to her contacts at home, gets patched up, decides that she wants to wage war with what was left behind, the enterprise that was left behind, and she wants to make it hers. During this, she's making moves to try and take out the armory of that enterprise and plants a bomb in their next shipment and blows up their entire supply of weapons and ammo and all that fun stuff. Then we find out the boss didn't die, and he came back into the picture and comes back in, and he gives her this contact where she can see his words but through sign language, which was really cool. Once again, her being completely deaf, so everything she does is in sign language, and which I thought was like a really neat aspect in the story. I've never really seen one like that before, where they one, huge shout out to American Sign Language. I think that was awesome. But two, how much more feeling it is when you don't have a voice. I guess that kind of hit really hard too. So they're communicating now through this device, and then she gathers her family, and she's starting to realize that she's feeling and seeing and doing all these things from past, like from ancestors from years on back. And she has a talk with her grandmother and finds out that her powers echo through the generations, which henceforth the name of the show. And there was about 4 or 5 different characters from different generations that have different type of, I don't know if you call them powers or attributes or abilities, but they all compile into one, where she's able to connect with those ancestors and use those powers, whether it's for strength, whether it's for healing, whether it's for ferocity, all those things. And she ends up having a standoff with the boss, uses her family members to use the power of the echo through the generations, and they just kick everybody's ass, which was pretty cool. She ends up using her healing powers to try and heal her boss, who she referred to as an uncle, and tried to heal some of his pain from when he was a child, turning him into the person that he turned into. And it was a good show. It was a really good show. They kind of had a teaser at the end where the boss was on the plane back to New York, and maybe he was gonna do something with the New York City mayor race, which was kind of cool how they kind of tuned into it. And the boss, by the way, he was the one that I'm remembering him from the most is Full Metal Jacket. He was Private Gomer Pyle. I can't remember his real name.
Yeah,
but that's who plays the bad guy.
Yeah, Kingpin is his villain name in the comics and in the shows.
Yeah, and Fisk, I think, was his actual name in the show. And so it shows that I think there was some fun characters, like Biscuits was a cousin who helped her gather all of her supplies so nobody saw her, and he was kind of like the comic relief. Got to roll in on a monster truck and take out 2 vans full of bad guys, so that was fun to watch. But yeah, I'm really hoping that there's nothing announced or nothing even out there as if they're going to do a second season on this miniseries, but I absolutely loved it. 10 out of 10 recommend. It was a fun watch.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it kind of ties into, like we said, the Hawkeye universe, the Daredevil universe, because Kingpin is also the villain in a lot of the Daredevil stuff. And it also ties into Punisher. The Punisher is part of that universe, so to speak, as well. So I'm excited for a lot of the Marvel stuff coming out. They have a lot coming out next year, so we will see how they tie everything together. So yeah, that'll be interesting to see. Yeah, Echo was a good one. So did you say you highly recommended it?
Absolutely.
Wasn't sure. Yeah, I mean, it can be considered a mini series, but we do have, what did we have it under? The TV Marvel. So
yeah, we had TV Marvel.
But we finally do have a TV miniseries folder in there. So, or no, it was under superhero. So there you go. So we'll delete that from the superhero folder. All right, I had to watch Wanted, and this movie came out a while ago. What was it, 2000? Honestly, I didn't even look up the year, but I'm going to say 2008 is going to be my.
I was going to guess that.
Is going to be my guess here. Let's see what it says. 2008. Look at that. Maybe I did look it up last week, but anyway. So James McAvoy stars in this. Angelina Jolie smoking hot in this. Morgan Freeman, the rapper Common, is in a couple scenes, part of the gang. So James McAvoy, Chris Pratt, a young Chris Pratt is in this movie as the dude's best friend / co-workers, who's also slamming his girlfriend. And so, I mean, he just lives in this crummy apartment with this girlfriend who's cheating on him. No money, stuff like that. He kind of gets the feeling that he's being watched. And then, he goes to this dead-end job in an office, and it's almost like a scene out of Office Space. He has this one lady who works in his office, and if you remember Office Space, that one lady who's like, you can hear her. You can't hear what she's saying, but you can hear like the high pitches in her voice. And then he goes to a supermarket, and then he sees this guy walk in. Turns out, fast forward, and again, spoilers, it's his dad who's actually trying to save him from the crew that Morgan Freeman runs with Angelina Jolie, but Angelina Jolie plays it off like she saved him from this guy who's basically played off as he's hunting him. Fast forward a lot through this, it's running down. It's him training. He checks his bank account at the beginning of the movie. It was like 0. And then he checks it again after Angelina Jolie gets mixed up with him. And I mean, he's a millionaire all of a sudden. They're driving fancy cars. He does these weird, like milk ice baths to recover your body. And the most important part, Mark, he learns how to curve a bullet and shoot wings off a fly.
That's what I was waiting for.
Yeah. So that's kind of where the whole curve a bullet phenomenon came from, was Wanted. But it was, training and stuff like this to take down that guy who turns out it was his dad. And then he takes a bullet, and they're like, well, let's find out who made this bullet. And they take it to this old guy, like in Greece or somewhere in Europe, and actually that guy has been making those bullets for his dad because his dad shot the gun. And then it turns out he joins forces. His dad dies, and he kind of takes over his dad's position. Basically, I don't know what the ranks are in private assassination groups, but so he puts on his dad's leather jacket and takes his guns and stuff like that, and he runs and hunts down everybody in Morgan Freeman's crew to kind of avenge his dad. And he didn't really know, he was being lied to that it was his dad who was hunting him, when it was really his dad who was trying to save him. So that's the gist of it. I mean, it's I guess it was a fraternity, secret assassination society, however you want to see it. He obviously learned a lot, gained a lot of skills that he didn't have. And, I don't know if he necessarily got to hook up with Angelina Jolie's character, but good for him if he did. It was directed by, I don't know how to pronounce this dude's last name, but his first name is Timur. I'm just going to sound it out phonetically. Beckham Badoff. Does that sound right?
Sounds close.
There you go. So there you go. Basically the rundown of it. And yeah, it was a good movie. I loved it when it came out. I used to watch this movie on repeat. If you haven't seen it, it's a good watch. A lot of action, a lot of thrills and stuff like that. I mean, they're hanging from a train that fell off the tracks in like the Andes Mountains or wherever they were. So that's cool. Again, the bullet curving. I mean, one dude shoots, the other guy shoots. They both curve, and the bullets run into each other. I don't really know if that's possible, but when you're skilled assassins like this, Mark, I guess anything's possible.
That's right. That's right. Like KG said, anything is possible.
There you go. So that is more or less the breakdown. Again, it's a good watch. It's been on FX the last couple of weeks, so if you don't have access to streaming, I'm sure you could catch it on FX or one of those networks. But yeah, there you go.
I like it. I like it. No, I've watched it once. I think I watched it in theater, aging myself. I watched it in the theater when it came out, and it was a fun watch. It's one of those things where let's throw out all physics and real life stuff and let's have some fun. And I think they nailed that.
Yeah, throw out everything you know about anything.
Right.
So there you go. All right, it is time for the wheel review. So we will see what our assignment is for next week as we get the wheel turned on here. And again, if you're new to the program, we'll spin, see if we're watching a movie or TV show, break it down into genres. If it's a TV show, we'll break it down into how many episodes. And if it's a movie, well, then it's just a movie. Mark, you want to do the honors for the first spin?
Is it my turn or is it your turn? I forget.
I couldn't tell you what happened yesterday. So from last week, I have no idea.
Fair enough. Then yeah, I'll go first. Let's get at it.
Hey. Seems like you're switching off pretty consistently.
I'm okay with that. Hey, I'm okay with that.
Crowd loves it. All right, let's see the movie genre. So the genres are horror, comedy, action, cartoon, sports, and Marvel madness. Will he continue his Marvel madness?
Well, hey, I won't be angry at that.
Nope. All right, you got a cartoon. Let's hope it's not We're Back. I think I sadly why can I never find these folders?
It's funner to watch you scroll it.
I was gonna say it's all right, so here we go. These are what's left in the cartoon, and then once all these are gone, we will add some more.
Uh-oh.
There you go.
Uh-oh.
The Incredibles. Wait, is this Incredibles 1 or 2?
I was just gonna ask you that question. Hey, but how about co-host choice? How about that?
Yeah, I just watched the first one. It's a classic.
Right. I like it. All
right. So you got The Incredibles as Mark's movie assignment for next week. Let's get my first spin out of the way. Movie. Yeah, by the way, the picture with the popcorn is movies, and the other one, the person sitting at home, is TV shows, by the way. All right, let's do, what is it? Movie genres. All right, let's see. Marvel Madness or sports? Marvel. Crowd loves it, though, I'll tell you. Now let's see if I can find it. Oh, look at that. Almost the first shot. All right, so we got a lot here because I don't think we've had this one yet. So let's see what we got.
I'm actually a tad bit jealous.
And Marvel's tough because there's so many in the series. So if it lands on this, it's going to be co-host choice because there's obviously 3 Iron Man movies. So Mark, it is up to you which one I watch.
You know what? Let's start off at the beginning. Let's start off with the first one, just because if we get to, in my opinion, I say we throw in the second and third, maybe one of us can can watch that one next.
Yeah. So we'll definitely throw in that, especially in the Marvel one because there's so many. But
Absolutely.
I'm gonna guess this is like 2008 as well. The first Iron Man. It was the first one made like in the new MCU universe. Like if you follow the timeline, so it was the first one made. It's not the first one you technically watch if you're watching them all in order, but there you go. So Mark needs to watch The Incredibles, the first one, and I have to watch the first Iron Man. And so we will get to those breakdowns next week. So excited for that.
I'm okay with The Incredibles.
It's almost like a superhero. It's a superhero movie.
Right. And it's better than what could have been I could have ended up with. So
yeah, like We're Back or something. Yeah, that almost made me walk out during lunch. That's how bad it was. Terrible management.
Like I said, we had to get back into your time machine to see how younger Michael would have liked it way better.
I don't understand how anyone's like that, but it was the 90s.
Different world.
Yeah, it's different time. There you go. But that is going to do it for us here on the Mark When on the Mic here on Elevation 5280 Sports and Lifestyle. Huge shout out to Nick Ferguson for joining the program. Hopefully he can be our mainstay when it comes to talking football. And so we want to be a big shout out to Nick Ferguson. You could catch him at Nick Ferguson _25 on X. So make sure you give him a follow as well and check out the Nick Ferg podcast as well. But that's going to do it for us here. Don't forget to go to all of our social medias, follow, like, subscribe, whatever the case may be, Facebook, X, Instagram, YouTube, and also Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music. Go to our home base, e5280sports.com. I got articles up there on Alien Earth. Going to start our articles on the new Walking Dead Daryl Dixon season, which as big of a Walking fan, I didn't even know that the season started this last Sunday. So maybe we'll take these next couple of days and watch the first episode and maybe give a review. I'll put an article up, recap and review on that as well. And don't forget to catch Rashad Mitchell's this week in sports online as well as he recaps the NFL and college football seasons. So yeah, go to e5280sports.com, Pro Wrestling Daily on there as well. Mark, any final thoughts before we skedaddle?
No, just want to, like you said, huge shout out to Nick. Thanks for that. Hoping to see him frequently. And man, I'm excited. Daryl Dixon, football season, Stranger Things coming up. Let's go.
We will be doing a Stranger Things show, by the way. We might, if we can catch up, we might be doing a separate Walking Dead show as well, because we already have the graphics made. So
gotta use them.
Yeah, we gotta use them. We gotta use the assets that are giving to us. There you go. Well, that's gonna do it for us. For Mark Saxton, I am Michael Spillane. We will talk to you next week.